Welcome everyone to My Weight World TV. I'm Dr. Brenda MD. I'm in the studio today with Scott White, a personal trainer and member of My Weight World's Board of Advisors. Today we're going to talk about what exercise programs burn the most fat. Welcome, Scott.
How you doing, Brenda?
Good. First of all, I want to ask, how much fat is burned while we're doing aerobic exercises like jogging?
Well, it all depends on the person. Some people, depends on the time also. If you're running on a treadmill at 5-6 miles per hour, you're probably going to burn close to, let's say, 500 to 600 calories for that hour of exercise. But depending on the size of the individual, how much muscle mass they have, some people are going to burn more, some people are going to burn less. It's always good to get a heart rate monitor or like this little device is called like a body bug, and they can measure your caloric expenditure and give you a pretty accurate measurement. If you really want that, completely accurate measurement, you go to get a respiratory exchange ratio where you expel oxygen and CO2.
Then you'd have to go somewhere more specialized.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, that general
measurement is going to be able to give. But on the treadmill, if you put your weight in, you put your weight in, you put, and it knows your rate that you're running. And
it's going to give you a general guideline to follow, and that's going to be, a good number.
Okay. What type of aerobic exercises are more helpful to help you burn more fat?
Okay, so the more muscles you move, the more calories you're going to burn.
Okay.
Also, your exercise protocol, your cardiovascular protocol from the treadmill to running outside versus, whatever you may do. When you do more of an interval program, for example, if you walk for 30 seconds and then you run as fast as you possibly can for 30 seconds and then go back to walking for 30 seconds and then...
That's hard.
Yeah, it's completely challenging, but it also teaches the body to, hey, we don't need fat for fuel, we're just getting rid of it, and you'll lose a lot more fat faster doing an interval training program versus that long, slow running and being in your optimal heart rate.
Really?
And so, yeah, totally. You'll shed so much more fat. It's just look at like an elite sprinter and then a long distance runner. The elite sprinter has lower body fat, more muscle, and is a, more trained and appealing body image that most people want versus a long distance runner. They have less muscle mass. They have actually a higher body fat and tends to not be as desirable as the body image people want.
So interval training.
Yeah, it's the way to go.
Does weight training, lifting weights, does that help you burn fat also?
Yes, it's probably the most efficient for shedding fat. Just because when you weight train, you increase your metabolic rate, and there's this thing called an afterburn. So once you're done lifting weight, your body core temperature is heated up, and so for, let's say, 3 hours afterwards, you have an increased caloric expenditure for those next 3 hours. So, and then also as you put on muscle, it helps increase your metabolic rate. So then you're able to consume more good calories or even some bad. And you can also burn more calories while those muscles are active. So you're going to have a higher metabolic rate and burn a lot more calories while you're either running on a treadmill, doing daily activities, and of course lifting weights.
Right. So someone that has what we call a good metabolic rate, they probably have more muscle, and that's what they burn more calories at rest, just because they have more muscles.
Yeah, definitely. Some people, it depends on the individual, have higher metabolisms than others. And so they can eat a ton of food and not gain weight.
I know.
And then, it's a great benefit. Exactly.
I'm not that person. But are there specific types of weight training that help you burn more fat? Specifically?
Yeah, there's no specific exercise. It's not like you can do bicep curls and lose the fat in your biceps or abdominal crunches, because there's no spot reducing exercises out there. But there's exercise programs that you can do that will shed a lot more fat faster from either with your hormones increasing your testosterone levels from that type of program that releases a higher testosterone output, and then also from core temperature, it heats your body core temperature up a lot hotter, so you'll melt basically fat off you faster, whereas opposed to, and that would be a higher intense program. So like heavy weights, no rest, nonstop, very tough program. Wouldn't recommend it for beginners. Beginning program would be great. It'd be like a full body exercise program where you're doing like the squat, a lunge, a push-up, a pull-up, very functional exercises, and you're not resting, and you're doing, a squat, lunge, pull-up, push-up, and then you go back to a squat, lunge, pull-up, push-up, maybe 8 to 10 reps, and then just keep repeating for 30 minutes, and as you get in better condition, you add more weight to stress the body more, and that will shed fat a lot faster than just doing like bench press, then taking a break, then bench press, taking a break, and just splitting your muscle groups up. But they're all great programs, but you're going to have some that are a lot more efficient than others for shedding fat.
That's a great suggestion. What about yoga?
Yoga is a great exercise. I mean, it's phenomenal for help, mental meditation, all that, as well as flexibility. Though, I mean, I did have recently a client, and there's studies on it. It shows that it burns less calories than weight training and other forms of exercise, like cardio kickboxing or stuff. So yoga is very meditative, and it's great from a standpoint of balance and flexibility.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But from a caloric
Burning
expenditure,
calories.
it doesn't burn as much calories as people would like to do. But if you have great genetics and you're already lean, and it's a great form of exercise. From a physiological standpoint, yoga is like doing light weights with a lot of repetitions. It's good for endurance because you're doing those poses for long periods of times and you're holding it. And so it's tough on the muscles. And I'm not saying it's not mentally challenging and doesn't cause burn, but from an overall caloric expenditure, it doesn't expend as many calories as like heavy weightlifting.
Okay. I got some questions from the audience. Is that okay?
Oh, great, yeah.
Okay, the first one's from Mike in Florida. And he says, I want to burn fat, and I'm starting an exercise program. Is there a special diet that I should follow?
Yeah, it's all going to be dependent on your body's needs, right? So you need that nourishment for your body. You can't go wrong with a ton of vegetables. There was a study done where they put people in a zoo and they had to consume 12 pounds of vegetables per day. And it's ridiculous. I don't even get why they put them in a zoo. It's hilarious. It was a study. And then they actually dropped tons of weight. The first week, I think they dropped like 8, 10, 12 pounds on average. And then they incorporated some good quality meats into their diet. And as time goes on, they considered to lost even more weight.
Is this a zoo diet?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But it just goes to show you how important your vegetables are, because vegetables provide tons of nourishment for our bodies with very little calories.
Right.
And then good quality protein sources, meat sources are going to provide, the amino acids, the building blocks for our body. So eating, and then adding some good complex carbs, like maybe oatmeal, steel cut oatmeal for breakfast is phenomenal. And that's going to be great for a diet to start off with. Eating 5 to 6 small meals or even more shows that it increases the metabolic rate and you burn more fat during the day. Those are some specific fundamentals. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's very important that you eat a big breakfast and maybe a smaller lunch and a small dinner. And then it's not about only what you do eat, it's also what the time of the day that you eat. So, I mean, your biggest meal should be the breakfast because you're doing stuff all day long, and then your smallest meal should be dinner. So I'm sure you've heard where you eat like a king for breakfast, a queen for lunch, and a pauper for dinner. Exactly. And so it just helps.
And where do you put those middle meals in then? You said it's 5 times.
Yeah, exactly. There's snack in between every 2-3 hours. It studies and research shows that if you have 10 or even more meals a day, it increases your metabolic even more. So if you just graze all day long, you're going to shed and burn even more fat and be more likely to maintain. Because what you're doing is you're always constantly providing your body with energy, so it doesn't need to ever store any. And so it trains the body to just burn it off and keep it because it's always consuming.
It's not in starvation mode.
Exactly. I mean, it's not like, the prehistoric
days. It's the opposite of diets, though. Isn't that funny?
Diets, totally. Most diets, what they do is they starve.
Obviously.
Exactly.
But if you starve, then you slow your metabolic rate.
And then eventually your body adapts to it, and then now it's going to be hard to gain weight or lose weight at that,
lower metabolic rate.
Exactly. And then it makes it a lot more challenging to lose even more weight. And also when you diet, you're providing, or starve yourself, you provide your body with less nourishment for that functional tissue like your muscles and your bones, all that stuff to grow.
Muscles get weaker,
and so
bones get weaker.
Exactly.
Right. Gosh. Okay, another question. Chris from Arizona. I've been trying to decrease my body fat and I jog 5 days a week. Sounds like you need some interval training now that I've learned it. I lost some weight at the beginning and now the weight loss has tapered off. What do I need? See, I couldn't even answer. What do I need to do to shed a few more pounds?
Well, okay, so the cool thing about exercise, right? It lowers your heart rate and it lowers your blood pressure. It makes it so doing that 6 or 5 miles of jogging every morning, it actually makes it less. So now you're not burning as much calories as you did when you first started, because when you first started, your heart rate was through the roof. It was really tough. You burn a ton of calories. And now that you're in better shape, you now have to do more, or you have to increase the speed of it and go longer.
Okay.
And so, but of course, like we discussed earlier, the interval training is going to help shed that much more fat faster. And then of course, adding some resistance training with some, weights is going to help him build muscle. And then when he runs, he'll burn even more fat quicker.
So he should do interval, some resistance training, and maybe a little yoga so that he gets some flexibility.
Yeah, definitely
balance.
for a complete program.
Right.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you, Scott. Thanks.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thanks for joining us. And please tune in again to My Weight World TV so we can help you reach your goal with our community. I'm Dr. Brenda, MD, and thanks for watching.